All right, let's talk about something important, the word infertility. It probably brings a very specific picture to mind for most of us. But what if it's not the whole story? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on what infertility is really all about, using research to show you a side of it that goes way beyond just biology.
So let's just start with that. Go ahead, take a moment. When I say infertility, who do you see in your mind's eye? Is it a woman? A man? A couple? Whatever you're picturing, it's probably been shaped by years and years of social cues. But we're about to see how the actual data tells a much, much broader story.
And boom, here's the reality check. We're not talking about some rare condition that affects a handful of people. The research shows that an incredible 1 in 6 people of reproductive age will likely deal with infertility. That's not a small group, that's a huge global human experience.
Okay, so just to make sure we're all on the same page, let's get the official definition out there. Clinically speaking, infertility is the inability to get pregnant after 1 full year of trying. It's so important to remember this is a medical diagnosis, right? It's not a personal failure. And having this definition helps us shift the focus from blame to understanding.
It's funny how the conversation almost always seems to zero in on a woman's biological clock. But here's the thing. Fertility naturally declines with age for everybody. Yes, the decline might be steeper for women after 35, but men's fertility also changes over time. This is absolutely a shared human journey.
So, if it's not just about biology and age, then what else is going on? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. We're about to dive into all the other pieces of the puzzle, the lifestyle, the psychological, and the social factors that make this so much more complex.
The research shows a really striking difference when it comes to lifestyle habits. Studies found that couples dealing with infertility were more likely to have some unhealthy habits and feel a lack of social support. On the flip side, fertile couples generally had better eating habits, exercised more, and had strong social circles to lean on. It's a clear reminder that how we live our lives really can play a role.
And this visual just powerfully shows the immense psychological weight of it all. The journey is emotionally draining. You can see right here that couples experiencing infertility report way higher levels of stress and anxiety. It's this constant, heavy emotional burden that's just as real as any physical challenge.
And that emotional toll, it doesn't just stay with one person. It creates this huge ripple effect that can really strain a relationship. The data is super clear on this. Infertile couples tend to report more emotional distress, sure, but also less satisfaction with their relationship, their marriage, and even their sex life. It can be a real pressure cooker for even the strongest of partnerships.
So, on top of the personal struggles and the relationship stress, there's a whole other massive layer here: society itself. The cultural pressures and expectations around having children play a huge part in this experience. And honestly, they often make a tough situation a whole lot tougher.
This quote from the research just cuts right to the bone, doesn't it? For so long, culturally, the responsibility and the blame for infertility have been placed squarely on women's shoulders. And as the source points out, this happens even when the medical reason for the infertility is with the male partner. It's a deep, powerful, and pretty unfair bias. And here's where you see the real-world impact of that bias. The research shows that women have these incredibly strong emotional reactions. We're talking shock, fear, denial, when their partner is the one who gets diagnosed. Because society has framed this as a woman's issue for so long, they often end up carrying the emotional burden no matter what the science says.
So why is it so incredibly important to look at all these different angles? Well, because seeing the full, complicated picture is the absolute first step toward changing the conversation. And ultimately, that's how we provide better, more meaningful support for that 1 in 6 people who will go through this.
So what can we do? How can we do better? The research actually lays out a pretty clear path. First up, we have to see infertility as a shared condition, not something that belongs to one gender. Second, we need to look beyond the medical side and address the lifestyle and psychological factors. Third, we have to actively push back against the social stigma. And finally, and this is huge, we need to make sure both partners get the support they need, equally.
Which brings us to our final thought. Now that we've looked at the data, at the real, complex human story behind infertility, the next question isn't just for scientists or doctors, it's for every single one of us. In our own lives, with our friends, in our families, how can we be the ones to help change the conversation? How can we move it from a place of isolation and blame to one of empathy and true shared understanding?